Hey, it's Ron, and I want to tell you a story about business and how that story changed everything. It's just before 8:30 p.m. in Los Angeles, and the Fox network control room is dead quiet. On the monitors, a yellow family frozen in mid-frame. The first episode of The Simpsons is seconds away from airing, and no one in the building knows if they're about to make history or make a disaster. The animation looks crude, the jokes are darker than network TV has ever allowed at dinner time. And this is Fox, a 2-year-old network still fighting to be taken seriously. Every competitor expects them to fail. See, 2 years earlier, these same characters were just a side act. 60-second fillers on The Tracey Ullman Show. Matt Groening drew them in a panic to avoid handing over his Life in Hell comic. Somehow those sketches struck a nerve, though. Quick, raw, oddly honest. Families saw themselves in the chaos. Now, Fox is gambling its first primetime slot on a half-hour version of that chaos. No laugh track, no pretty people, no studio polish, just satire in fluorescent yellow. But could a cartoon carry a network? Could dysfunctional middle-class life become a business empire? And on this night, December 17th, 1989, could one animated family rewrite what television was worth? From Business Basics, I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business History, the daily podcast where we explain the stories that changed business forever. Throughout history, every date of the year has a story where business reshaped the world. Today, December 17th, that story takes us to 1989, when The Simpsons airs and animation becomes big business. By the late 1980s, Fox was the fourth network in a three-network world. Young, broke, and laughed at by CBS, NBC, and ABC, they didn't have prestige shows or legacy stars. Just a handful of cheap comedies and an audience no one else wanted. Teenagers, young adults, and night shift workers. The executives knew they couldn't outspend the big players, so they had to outshock them. They called it counter-programming. If the other networks showed polished family sitcoms, Fox would give America a family that looked more like its own. Loud, broke, sarcastic, and barely holding it together. When The Simpsons premiered, it hit that nerve immediately. Homer wasn't a dad smoking a pipe giving moral lessons. He was the guy drinking beer in the recliner while his son mocked authority. Bart became an instant cultural flashpoint. Eat My Shorts turned into a national debate about respect and parenting. Schools banned the t-shirts. Kids bought them anyway. And that controversy gave Fox exactly what it needed: free marketing. The Simpsons drew 27 million viewers its first week, more than any sitcom debut in Fox's short history. Advertisers, once hesitant to spend on the fledgling network, started calling. And one night, animation stopped being Saturday morning filler and became prime-time profit. Fox had found its identity. Young, irreverent, and profitable. And in the process, it proved that a network didn't need approval from critics to win. It just needed cultural volume. Matt Groening and producer James L. Brooks had struck an unusual deal. Fox owned the broadcast rights, but The Simpsons creators retained control of the characters and creative direction. That meant every new episode wasn't just content, it was an asset. By the second season, the numbers told the story. Syndication rights sold worldwide. Soundtracks, t-shirts, dolls, and video games hit the market. A single year of The Simpsons merchandise was pulling in more revenue than most Fox sitcoms combined. Bart's face was everywhere. Cereal boxes, lunch boxes, sneakers. And what this really was is this was the moment that television learned what Disney had known for decades. Character, intellectual property could make more money outside the screen than inside it. Fox's marketing team leaned in pretty hard. Every new product was an ad for the show, and every rerun fueled more sales. It was a circular business model. Infinite content, feeding infinite commerce. Other studios scrambled to follow. NBC fast-tracked a show called Tiny Toon Adventures. MTV greenlit Beavis and Butthead. Nickelodeon pivoted its entire strategy toward older animation. What had started as a half-hour risk now defined a whole new category: adult animation as cultural and commercial currency. Behind the jokes, The Simpsons had done something radical. It made creativity a business system. Every line of dialogue, every new character, every parody could be monetized, syndicated, and licensed. The show wasn't just about a family anymore. It was a family business.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
By the mid-1990s, The Simpsons had become more than a show. It was a media economy. It anchored Fox's schedule, drove ad revenue, and proved the network could compete with the establishment. More importantly, it showed the power of owning characters instead of just producing episodes. Over time, that model reshaped entertainment. South Park, Family Guy, and King of the Hill followed that same playbook. Creator-driven intellectual property with endless licensing potential. Networks stopped thinking in seasons and started thinking in universes. Every show was a brand, every character a product line. When The Simpsons movie hit theaters in 2007, it grossed over $500 million worldwide. By the time Disney bought Fox in 2019, The Simpsons library was one of the crown jewels of the deal. A 30-year-old cartoon valued in the billions. From yellow sketches on a comedy show to a global franchise, The Simpsons had done what few creative projects ever achieve. It stayed relevant while rewriting its own business model. But its real innovation wasn't comedy or animation. It was endurance. Proof that creativity, when protected as property, could outlast executives, networks, even generations of audiences. And all of that began on December 17, 1989, the night a cartoon family turned television into an empire. I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business History, the daily podcast that finds the turning points behind the headlines. To hear more stories like this, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. And if you're enjoying the stories, don't forget to subscribe and leave a quick review. It helps more people find the story behind the business. Want to actually understand business without the fluff or the buzzwords or the MBA language? Start by visiting businessdailypodcast.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.